Hello, this is Ray Karczewski, coming to you from my home here in Cave Junction, Oregon. The message for tonight is the land of the free and home of the brave, revisited. It is a response to a comment made by a former deputy sheriff to my video, The Impotence of Oregon Judges who confuse public policy for law. The former deputy sheriff Philip says, as a former deputy who left due to corruption, I know what you say is truth. Ray, there are those who will rail against you and say your theories are nonsense. However, they will have erred. A closer look at our Constitution and our Bill of Rights will show the document to be a common law trust, a contract, compelling performance by the one who offers his oath of fidelity and oath of office. But when we register to vote, we lose our sovereign elector status. We become a ward, child, and imbecile, and under the law are unable to attend to our own legal affairs. This, coupled with many adhesion contracts, which assist in creating the nexus for an legis capitis diminutio maxima, fictional person. We have certainly forgotten who and what we really are. It makes me sad, but in a way happy, too, for never in history has a species become globally politically aware before now. Still, there is hope. Respectfully, in truth and liberty, Philip. My response was thus: Philip, I have been at this for 16 years now. Few have been as candid in their replies to me as you have. Law enforcement has changed. They have rooted out the good officers, such as you and I, and have replaced them with automatons, lacking in compassion, judgment, adaptability, with a penchant for carrying out rigid department policies. I acknowledge not all officers answer that description, but enough do to command and manipulate public perception. This does not bode well for cops in the future, as they shall no longer be perceived as peace officers, but as soldiers. Thus the violence shall be ratcheted up in our society. I recently was interviewed on television regarding the subject of sovereignty. I wore my .357 sidearm openly. Why? To demonstrate that sovereigns have a duty and a right to self-defense in the protection of themselves and others who cannot protect themselves in times of high crime and encroaching tyranny. I am sure many fearful, conditioned people out there will misinterpret such an extraordinary act of liberty, as they themselves are unaware of living in a manner where they understand they are responsible for solving their own problems, and no cop can be in all places at all times. Mine was a wake-up call for a great many people out there to once again be responsible sovereigns, and not emasculated victims, trembling in fear at the sight of criminals and uniformed armed corporate enforcers who can no longer claim to be public servants. Somehow or another, things got turned around. The American people have lost sight of the fact that public servants work for us. We are not slaves to be managed by armed overseers. The other reason is to settle once and for all the question of whether a fictional government, through its courts, has jurisdiction over any living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient natural man, who does not consent to rules made by any organization he does not belong to, such as the corporate de facto government. That corporate court convicted their own created juristic person defendant, whose name is spelled in all capital letters of felonies. Yet they threw the living man out of jail when they saw they could not break him. Now most people know it is a felony for any convicted felon to possess firearms. But such policies, which are not law, have no effect upon living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient natural men and women, those of us who have retained our intelligence and common sense. The sheriff of Josephine County, Oregon, Gil Gilbertson, is presently holding his public office unlawfully, for I have accepted and challenged him in his oath of office, and he has breached same, therefore standing in dishonor and default. He should have long ago, since his re-election, been removed, but the corruption in Josephine County, with its cover-up of same, seems to know no bounds. At any rate, the die has been cast. Let all see if Gilbertson and his cover-up cronies will come after this living, breathing, flesh and blood man as a perceived felon with a gun. God, indeed, operates in mysterious ways, does he not? It's time to see just how far the Josephine County Courthouse crowd, with their satanic smoke and mirrors, will go in clouding up the consciousness of mind-controlled wards of the state, the average, slumbering, enslaved, who make up the vast numbers of people in our society. At any rate, it's good to know that you are out there, Philip. Thank you.